They had a nice MLT where the mutton is nice and lean and the
Oh,
tomatoes
yeah.
are...
It's so perky. I just love. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Yes. Welcome to Watch Mojo.
That's right.
Where the rules are made up and the points don't matter. Wait.
And we
wrong
forget the
thing.
names of episodes, and we talk about things that don't happen and out of order, and forget episode titles and all that stuff because we're
and
true anime fans.
And mispronounce like everyone's names.
Yep. That's right.
Kuropika.
Or well, my personal favorite is, here we have the dog Ein and Cowboy Bebop.
Oh my.
Yeah. Yeah. Or saying that that Spike's rampages in the episode Ballad of Fallen Angels. It's
See, they go for the quantity over quality kind of thing.
Sure.
But see, they've gotten better over time. Since their top 10
animated trails, or
sure, there you go. I'm like trying to think of like what would be a generic name to like insert in there. Oh my gosh.
So
Daiki,
hi everybody.
Thank you so much for gifting a tier 1 sub to Wally15.
Yes,
what a
thank
bro,
you,
Daiki.
So this is podcast number
83. Welcome everyone.
Wow.
Kraga and Achilles CR, thank you so much for the follows. Ooh,
yes,
Achilles CR.
Is
that a Critical Role
Is that
reference?
challenge rating Critical Role, or what is it?
Yes,
or Crunchyroll. Yeah, exactly. You
Who knows?
can never know in this community.
Mispronounced phosphophylite. Wait, did I mispronounce it?
Phosphophylite?
In the reactions or stuff? Glad I instantly derailed things into talking about Watch Mojo. I feel powerful. Larry, the thing is that you have a finger on the pulse of what kind of sick humor goes through our brains.
Exactly.
And
like never reacting to Space Dandy.
Yep. Savage.
But
oh my gosh, road to 100. Yep, before we get too far into this, wow, there's a lot of people showing up for this.
Yes. It's that Watch Mojo title.
It's that Watch Mojo clickbait title. Yep, absolutely. Yep. So we have to give a shout out to one of the oldest VIP patrons ever. We've caught up to our VIP patrons, so cycling back around. Yep. We have to give a shout out to Lunar Legend, the absolute legend, the absolute mad lad, one of the first, if not the first VIP patron to ever support us ever. Bro, thank you so much.
Yes.
Your support has been just it defies comprehension.
Yeah.
Every
once in a while we'll be like, yeah, people have been supporting us VIP since the beginning, and it's like, oh yeah, that's right.
You guys are awesome. So thank you all so much. But Lunar, thank you very much as well.
And hopefully we get to see you again in the VIP calls and movie watches, because we've missed you.
Yeah. All right. So let's jump right into this. So the thing is, the CR part of my name comes from a popular RTS mobile game called Clash Royale.
Kitties happens to be my gamer tag in that game.
Gotcha.
Cool.
So Jacob and I have not told each other our top 5. Now, let's like clarify something here, Jacob. When I say like top 5 things that like changed us forever, what am I meaning by that?
Well, he's talking about moments in life that basically I'm trying to make a terrible joke about this, but I can't really.
Essentially, like anime that we've watched on the channel that have just done like wonders for how our story of watching anime has changed.
Right, and there may have been some slight miscommunication before the podcast when we were planning it about what exactly it was, the exact terminology. So mine may end up being more of like things that were watched because of the channel than like directly on the channel necessarily. Most of it's on the channel, but there are a couple exceptions.
Girlfriend.
No, actually. But
no.
I know.
What?
I will talk about it, but that's not one of the 5. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. So first things first, we got to do this in the typical order. We're going to go back and forth, each of us going through our 5ths, our 4ths, our 3rds, and all the way up to our 2nds. And then we'll do, of course, honorable mentions where we won't go into too much detail in the honorable mentions. Just kind of a brief little snippet for each one. But yes. Yeah. No Game of Thrones stuff in here, please. I don't care whether or not we've recorded it or not.
We have not. Yeah, we have not. But even if we had, we have not.
Yeah, exactly. Because there are other people here. This is not a Game of Thrones stream.
Exactly.
So I appreciate that.
Yep.
Can't wait for Hunter x Hunter. Learned not to do 2 episodes a week. Hopefully there will be
Yeah.
some memes throughout
Mhm.
throughout this bit here. Now this is going to maybe slightly favor things that we've either finished or done a lot of, at least
Mhm.
on my list, because just because
Right.
if
I
we're just
love
doing
how-
a couple episodes of it.
I love how you said finished or done a lot of, and I know you're talking about one very specific show that I also am going to talk about, but whatever.
Right. Okay, cool.
And we don't know what each of us.
We don't know what
like,
each other
has
put
for
on
this.
here.
So maybe there will be a crap ton of overlap. Maybe not. Who knows? It'll be interesting.
We'll see. So, do you want to go first? Let's do a classic rock paper scissors. See who goes first.
Okay. Or we could just do a slap bet and see who, just slap each other and see who slaps the other person the hardest.
Wait.
Yeah.
So, wait. What was the game? What was the game like this?
Oh, that.
We could do this. We could do this
well,
game here.
We could try.
So
that'd be
can
really
you do it?
freaking hard.
Nah,
Yeah.
our elbows. Nah,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
enough room.
Okay.
That game would be pretty
We could
fun
just-
though.
Tennis, slap each other. No. So okay, rock paper scissors.
Okay, rock
Now
paper
2 out of
scissors.
3 or just once?
2 out of 3.
Okay.
And rock paper scissors on scissors, not
Right.
1 2 3 shoot.
Right. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay.
So ready?
Yep.
I
Yeah.
won.
Yep.
So you let me go first because you knew I'd
Exactly.
pick rock 100% of the time.
Exactly.
So probably
I
then
wanted
which
to go
one,
second.
what show might be on this list now that I picked the
Rock every
statistically
single time.
optimal way to play rock paper scissors. Everyone, by the way,
Oh.
always pick rock.
You've watched No Game No Life, have you?
Oh, is that what that's from? You've
No.
said it so many times.
Well, have I?
yeah.
I don't know, but
Okay.
I mean, I know they go into this statistic. Like, there's this scene where, anyways, but yeah.
Yeah, so my first one that I'm going to go here, what I picked for 5th place in a show that we didn't even record the first season of, specifically on this channel, a show that Jacob introduced me to, something that he thought I would not like at all, Konosuba. Let me tell you all about the influence Konosuba has had on me as a naive like basic bitch in anime. Like, okay,
It's true, 'cause he really was. He really
Konosuba
was.
came out back in a time where Attack on Titan, like season 1, was like my favorite anime of all time. Like, I had watched barely anything, and then Jacob starts getting into like slice of life and like cute girls doing cute things
that didn't come till later.
Oh, that
but-
didn't come till later.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
but
yeah.
then like high school romantic stuff
Oh, yeah,
and
Toradora
comedies,
and-
and I'm like, no,
Ye-
anime is all about action and edginess and blood. And the thing is that when he showed me Konosuba, the reason why he thought I wouldn't like it was because of the fan service.
Yeah.
Now he had good reason to assume that. I didn't.
3 physics engines for each female character.
Yep.
2 in very specific places.
Yep. But Konosuba did something special for me, is where you can have a show that knows it's trash, but actually takes itself seriously in the writing side of things, the structure side of things, and the actual like characterization of its characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, every single character in Konosuba is so just freaking lovable.
Yeah,
You
they're
can't
amazing.
not just fall in love with how idiotic, how stupid, how ridiculous they are. Konosuba, I think,
Yep.
changed the way I looked at characters,
Sure.
changed the way I looked at comedy, it changed the way I looked at fan service for one
Definitely,
also.
Definitely.
But also, I think it made me take anime way less seriously.
Yes.
Way less
yes.
seriously.
Uh-huh.
There was something really special about this show where Konosuba, it was like, okay, what are our 5 idiots gonna get up to today? I don't know. Let's watch and find out. I didn't really care too much about the overall linear story. I really was
Right.
just interested in, okay, what are the 5 characters gonna go through today?
Yep.
And there was always something that either referenced back previous jokes, it built upon itself, the cast became more intertwined, and yeah.
Except 4 main characters.
Did I say 5?
Yeah.
Why am I assuming there are 4 girls? Oh, it's Chun Chun Maru, obviously.
Oh, right.
Yes,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also Whis, there's
Chimosuke.
Chamos.
Yeah.
Did I say Chun Chun Maru?
Hey, Chun Chun Maru is a
Is
very
important
large
character.
and in charge important character
Right, very-
in Konosuba.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yep,
and
definitely.
the thing is that Jacob thought, if he likes it, he'll like, Megumin's explosions, or he'll like Kazuma being this like
Yeah.
actually fun main character.
I thought he would have a problem with darkness.
You know,
but-
my favorite character is still to this day is Darkness. Darkness, the one that is probably the simplest of all the characters.
Yep.
Not
the most shtickish.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And yet, I loved her season 2 development. I
Oh,
loved her
Well, but even before
very
season 2,
over the top, like desires for what
Like-
a man she would want to have would
But
be.
even before season 2, Darkness was head and shoulders your favorite Konosuba girl.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that was the thing that just blew my mind, because yes, she was hilarious in season
Kazuma
1.
was second, like a very
Uh-huh.
close second, obviously.
But like, because so when season 2 came around and Darkness had such amazing scenes, it was absolutely wonderful. But like, it completely just shorted out my brain. I did not understand it. I was like, what kind of world am I living in? Like, maybe anything really is possible. Like, there are so
Right.
many shows that I could potentially, theoretically, eventually get Caleb into.
Oh man.
Like, the whole thing with Domestic Girlfriend is probably largely in part because of things like Konosuba.
Sure.
Because I had kind of given up in a lot of ways before Konosuba came along.
Okay.
You know, and I was like, okay, they're the shows that Caleb will like, and there's the ones that he just won't, right? And there's not really any change
Right.
in that.
hmm
And then that happened.
And then that happened.
Yeah.
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 Oh,
As
Konosuba
recently
dubbed?
as
Yes.
2016, Caleb
Yes.
wasn't that deep into anime. I had no idea.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty crazy, right? Kazuma the Equalizer. Kazuma,
Basically.
great lead. You mean Aqua is useless, but still more useful than Sakura, Goddess, the anime? Oh my god. Raise your hand. Thank you so much for the Twitch
Wow.
Prime.
Wow.
Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
You got Kazuma, best girl.
Mhm.
You guys need to watch Konosuba dubbed. Oh, we have watched a whole
Yeah.
bunch of it.
Uh-huh.
A whole bunch of
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Yes, it's such a good dub. It's such a good dub. There's characters in there that you can tell aren't as good as others.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But just the idea that isn't it like Dio that plays the Dullahan? The Dullahan is
In the
amazing
dub.
in the dub.
Yeah.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
in the dub,
Yeah.
Dullahan. Oh my god, it's so good. But yeah, the dialogue, the banter, so much I could say about Konosuba. But yeah, it opened me up to a whole lot more in the way I
You saw anime?
I appreciate and see anime. Yeah.
It was the character Jacob thought Caleb would dislike, but it was also the first masochist character Caleb had ever been introduced to, and so it was that it became his favorite, as chronicled.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's like lore right
Yep,
there.
that's right. That's
Uh-huh.
SOS lore right there.
Mhm.
So mine,
Yes. So
mine
now
for-
Jacob for 5th place.
for 5th place is okay. So well, actually, wait. This should I put the cheating ones first or the? Okay, so I'll put the cheating ones in a different order because cheating at the very beginning. That's kind
He's
of
changing his
that's
order.
kind of
Nutty.
rude. Well, because at the first I'm like, well, that's the first, that's the second, that's the third, and then I'll put those two at the last because they're cheating. But
You're switching back to
Okay,
like
fine,
release
okay.
order.
okay, fine. I will keep it in the order that I have listed here. So that means I'm starting with cheating.
Okay. Okay.
So this one is a movie.
Ah.
We did not react to it. So there's that. And I'm not entirely sure when I watched this first. So it might have been technically right before the channel or like right after the channel started. But this I would definitely, but I believe I found out about it through the channel somehow or something.
Huh. Okay.
But that is Your Name.
Oh.
So back when we were in the comments, it was a lot easier to keep a finger on the pulse of the things that were happening in the anime community, things that were coming out,
For
and things
sure.
like that.
before we had the Discord and all that.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I watched Your Name expecting just a visual spectacle, right?
Uh-huh.
You know, because like Garden of Words and 5 centimeters per second, those were great. They weren't my favorites as far as like the story went, but they were just gorgeous, and they told those simple stories really well.
Okay.
And I was completely blown away, and it was just this absolutely magical experience that I really did end up having a large effect on how I saw storytelling, because I don't think I had ever seen something that felt so magical before. Like you know, you talk about like, you know, magical stories, and oftentimes you think like Disney or something like that, where it's like literally there will be magic in it, right?
Oh, for sure.
And the whole idea of talking about stories as being magical is just a cliche, right?
Totally.
But that movie made it real to me. Like, where it was like, okay, yeah, stories can actually do this, where I look at a story and it has some crazy impact on me, and I can't pinpoint any one thing that was the reason for that. I can't like follow through with all the stuff that it did and be like, it was exactly right here or whatever. But it just swept me off my feet. It swept me off my feet and took me for a crazy ride, and the thing is, I'll still get things out of it today.
Yeah.
Where maybe I'll like, because after I watched it, there was this, I ended up watching a different movie, A Silent Voice, and I ended up kind of thinking, oh, Your Name, yeah, it's good, but I'm glad I watched it before A Silent Voice, because otherwise, you know, I wouldn't have really liked it that much, because A Silent Voice, you know, communicates such deeper emotions and all that stuff. But no, there's something incredibly powerful in just a simple story, and that's what it was. It was a simple story that was really fun, and a lot of the individual aspects of it were nothing to write home about, right? I mean, the animation was gorgeous and the soundtrack was fantastic, but you know, the characters, it's like, oh, okay,
story wise,
story wise, you know, it's like, okay, Freaky Friday the anime, right? But the sum was so much greater than the individual parts. Like, it blew my mind. The idea that you could have a story that had so much cohesiveness that it turns it into something else entirely.
Wow.
And yeah,
that's special.
Yeah, and a lot of that goes into that whole the presentation of it, you know, because you could have a story like that, and if it was, you know, done with regular animation and, you know, an okay soundtrack, it would be great,
right?
But it wouldn't move me quite as much. And that it was one of those things where it was a lesson that was shown rather than told, and I don't think anyone could have told me that lesson and had it really take root.
Gotcha.
But by experiencing it, you know, no one can ever really be told what the Matrix is.
Yeah,
it was an unforgettable experience.
Yeah, and we rewatched it recently to show to our folks.
Yeah,
to give them an experience about it, and it was special because
it was wonderful.
They each really got something special out of it, and I would say in some ways they got more out of it than A Silent Voice. It seemed like,
yeah,
because A Silent Voice was one where it was a very targeted set of emotions they were trying to trigger.
Right. It was so heavy.
It was very heavy, and I would say Your Name had this kind of transcendent aspect to it, where it spoke beyond the story.
Right.
And struck something unique in both of them. It's a very, like, I'm glad that if you're going to cheat on the list, then like this is the best. This is one of the best things to cheat on. Like this movie influenced, I think, you know, tons of people across the globe when it was released. Yeah. Okay, cool. So that's your
number
fifth
4.
one.
Yeah.
My number 4 one is one that I think many of you will go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Of course it's on here. And I think in some ways, I wish I had watched this show earlier. Because then I think I would have rewatched it right around now and gotten even more out of it.
Gotcha.
But still, I got so much out of this one here, and I was just talking about this one with you the other night. That's Hunter x Hunter. So y'all, let me give a little bit of a thing about Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter is a show that I think if anyone is going to put on their like top, you know, shonen list, you know, a set of 5 to 10 shows or something like that, Hunter x Hunter is going to be somewhat up there, or they just haven't seen it yet. Like that's basically, I'd say, how powerful the story of Hunter x Hunter is. The thing about why it's influential, though, really has almost nothing to do with the story. Now, this is going to maybe throw a wrench into some things a little bit, because when I was talking with Jacob recently, I was talking with him about like some of my highlight moments in Hunter x Hunter. and how they weave together through the overarching plot of something like the Chimera Ant arc.
Sure.
But it was the two primary main lead characters being exactly in line with certain tropes of what you needed for your shonen protagonists, so in this case, dual shonen protagonists. We'll talk on that in a second. But also had 1 or 2 or 3 extra dimensions added to them as well that made them so special. And we talked about this throughout the discussion in Hunter x Hunter on how the best character is not Gon or Killua. It's the relationship between Gon and Killua. It's like it's its own thing. It's its own creation thing. And the story, while being adapted from source material, weaved together so well all these separate I would say for the most part compartmentalized arcs, except for I would say the York New arc being the capitulation of a lot of what was built up in the previous arcs. Arcs like Greed Island had some spillover with when the game was introduced early on in like Heaven's Arena.
Sure.
And Chimera Ant arc had some tie-ins with Kite from previous stuff and the whole Hunter Association. So it was loosely connected, but there were individual arcs that just shook my idea of what makes for not just good storytelling, but good concepts for storytelling.
Sure.
One of the things I think, Jacob, you can attest to this, and I don't want to be the only one talking here, is when Hunter x Hunter we were kind of in the middle of it, I would say, we realized that we were dealing with a discovery-based storytelling show for in larger part than anything else we'd probably ever come across.
Sure, yeah.
Like there's obviously parts that are outlined out and planned ahead of time, but we were talking primarily from like a character perspective.
Yes.
Like Gon had his flaws from the get-go.
Yep.
But he did not outline every single thing that was going to happen in the Chimera Ant arc at episode 1. He discovered it along the way. For sure.
Togashi gave himself ammunition.
Yes.
And then basically, and a lot of the arcs, what they ended up being was basically him stockpiling on ammunition.
Yes.
Like and so even if like a particular arc is maybe a bit slower, it's him gearing up for the next one where then he's able to use it.
Yeah, and these characters, while Gon and Killua I'm talking about, while they are special, I would say, for the story overall, I have always been a huge fan of ensemble casts and massive worlds filled with imagination and almost too much to actually make into the story. It's probably why I have the itch to be a DM or a GM in tabletop gaming rather than a player. Sure. I'd rather just have an excuse to make a world and have some people experience it on some level. Shaker Bark and your friend, thank you so much for the follows. Glad to have you here. But I would say Hunter x Hunter specifically, and I wrote this down because it was impactful for me then as it is impactful now. It reignited my passion to create worlds that I could get lost in. When I've wrote anything, I always started with characters and worked out from there. Like almost always. It's so easy for me to get a baseline for a character and then break them apart, disassemble, and change them into something that's a little bit more, unique. But whenever I'm feeling imaginative, I don't imagine a character. I imagine a world. And Hunter x Hunter's world just reignite it, like awakened that passion again to make those types of worlds again. Yeah. And I think since then I've been lost, I would say, already in my own imagination as to worlds that I want to make. Because I would say Hunter x Hunter's world is not my favorite, like fantasy specific world. It was just the imagination of it. The idea that there were so many different elements in one creation.
Right. The way they made the world feel just huge, like expansive, so that you could basically spend as much time as you wanted to in the world and it wouldn't ever feel old. There would always be something fresh. That's like even if say like like the Avatar world is like your favorite world, with the bending and stuff.
Absolutely.
Like
that's also like not
that's
100% it because
right,
then
because then it's too much tied to the
story.
Characters and the story and everything. Hunter x Hunter, the way that the world is done is just, it's fantastic. Like Sometimes the world almost feels like the main character.
Mm-hmm.
Like and
I can see that.
You know, and
I
like
think
Gon
we
and
talked
Kill's
about that towards
relationship
the
is like
end of the
another
show.
main character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and Hunter x Hunter, I would say, is one of the shows that I would say, taught me to doubt myself a little bit more. Not just with the fact that we were getting, at certain points in the story, like completely overwhelmed with the amount of information that we were having to keep track of, but it taught me that you don't have to stick to certain tropes, and also you don't have to make your show for others. You don't have to make your story for other people.
Yes.
One of the things I think Togashi did that is probably to the back then. I don't know how popular Hunter x Hunter was when it first came out, but I'm guessing that on some level it could have been a little bit more popular if he stuck to more conventional tropes, but I don't think it would be the legendary achievement that it is today.
Right, it wouldn't have had the staying power. Yeah,
it wouldn't have had the staying power.
Right, he wrote the story that he wanted to write.
Yep.
And the people that say didn't really care for that, well, that's fine. And they could watch something else.
The proof is also in the hiatuses.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
He wrote the story he wanted to write.
Right.
Which is just crazy. But yeah, I would say it changed my perspective in those areas. I'm not doing a review on Hunter x Hunter. We've done stuff like that in the past. But that's how it influenced me so dramatically. So, yeah.
All right.
What's your number 4?
Well, I don't even need to look at my list for this one. So.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, no. So, might see this coming since I said that there were 2 cheaters on here, but the next one is a silent voice. So,
yeah.
And I mean, I've talked about a silent voice so much, right? Here's the thing. Caleb likes worlds and,
ensemble
casts and everything. My jam is characters and like small scale, intimate moments with characters where you really get to know who they are, how they think, how they operate, and their interactions with each other. Like the Gon and Killua, their friendship was my absolute favorite part of Hunter x Hunter, and if anything, the thing that I wished Hunter x Hunter had done more was make that be more focused on throughout.
Gotcha.
And so
Totally.
It's something like a silent voice, very different kind of relationship than in Hunter x Hunter. But yeah, Jacob mentioned a silent voice. Take a shot. But the thing is, when
for real,
this was another one that I watched because of comments back when we were in the comments, and I originally looked at it, and I looked at the wiki page for it, and I looked at the premise, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to like this movie. Because and usually a lot of my favorite stories, like movies and anime and things like that, are ones that I know I'm going to love it before I even watch it. Right? I just know that, like, oh yeah, this is gonna be my jam. I'm gonna love this so much.
For sure.
This one was the opposite, where I looked at the premise and I was like, oh no, a love story between a bully and the bullied. No, I don't think I'll be able to handle that. Nope.
Yeah.
Boy, was I wrong. And the thing is that it wasn't focusing on the love story, right? Which is why, again, I was able to love it so much. But it focused on the redemption aspect.
Yeah.
It was this wonderful example of the hero's journey where there was so much suffering that happened for the characters. And while it was, very dramatic, like, and very heavy, it all felt like, yeah, this is real stuff that people could go through, even if, the characters themselves are anime characters, right?
Right.
The way that the main character caused all the issues that happen in the movie, right? And the way that the characters had effects on each other and all of that, it blew me away. It made me wonder, it made me question it. It made me want to grow as a person because I thought about the times when I had done things in my own life that I was ashamed of, or that, maybe there was the person that didn't fit in and and I thought, oh, I should talk to that person, but I didn't, My favorite stories end up being the ones where I feel like I've learned some kind of lesson about life, myself, humanity, and this was one of those. It is my favorite movie still, for very good reason. And again, it did something else very similar to Your Name, even though the thing that it did was the same, and but the thing that it made me realize was different. So in Your Name, the overall presentation of it with the animation and the soundtrack and everything made me very invested in just the story and what was happening. So it was able to tell the story it wanted to tell, even though it was very simple, and it just whisked me along with it, right?
For sure.
With Silent Voice, it was that, but with the characters. It showed me just how much you could get into what a character was thinking and feeling without actually getting inside their head. One of the things that when I think about it, the fact that, and I'm not going to go into any crazy spoilers, but just slight like story design stuff, but the fact that we never really saw inside Shoko's head.
Oh yeah.
For like the entire course of the movie.
Literally.
Literally. Yeah.
We would see her reacting to things in an omniscient perspective outside of the MC. But we never actually
except not omniscient, because if it was omniscient, and this is more of something that I would expect between something that has two main characters like that, like with like Toradora or something, right? It'll sometimes alternate, between the characters, so that you really have a sense of what they're thinking and feeling, right?
It did with the sister when she was like on the bed and her legs were flapping and excitedly.
Okay, yeah.
So
but it never
moments.
right. But even then that's something where it's showing what Shoko was physically doing, not what she was thinking.
I know,
but it was using that as a medium to express that.
Yeah.
And the way that it did that so well absolutely blew my mind, because I'm someone that keeps inside my own head a lot, right? And so when my feelings, for instance, are not something that oftentimes makes its way out to like physical expression, unless I'm just really like stupid excited about something, right? And then I get all animated.
Attack on Titan 2.6.
Right, exactly. Or yeah, so many other things.
Yeah.
Domestic Girlfriend's gonna be so good.
Oh my god.
But but they did this for a character where they made the character a mystery, right? And when they ended up revealing what was going on with Shoko and why she did all the things that she did, because the thing is, the entire movie, I'm thinking, you should not be forgiving him. Like this, like maybe he's sorry, but you can't trust this guy after what he's done, right? And then we get to the final look inside her head, and it's and they could have had it be something of like, oh, she just loved you the whole time, but what they ended up doing was just way better.
Star Platinum 08, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime resub.
Yes,
appreciate it.
Thank you. But yeah, so the animation and the soundtrack and everything, the way they showed the nuance of the character expression, like even though I didn't always know what Shoko was thinking or feeling in a given situation, right? Like there were those little mysteries, but most of it, even though it was like a very limited perspective of her, it was so just communicated so clearly. It was absolutely fantastic. And that's one of those things that I strive to do with my own writing, of making there be, well, because with books you usually have a much closer perspective of the character, right? You can get into their thoughts and feelings and everything a lot easier.
For sure.
But using that physical description to showcase incredible depth of emotion,
it's amazing.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, Trashokon, exactly. What blew me away by Silent Voice is that they managed to animate the faces and expressions better than some real actors do it in movies.
Yep, exactly. It was another one of those things where it's like, this is why I love anime. Like, A Silent Voice was engineered.
Yeah.
Like, the manga is also fantastic, and, maybe less engineered because it was something that was coming out week to week, but it's also fantastic. But, like, the movie, like, holy hell. It's like every frame. It's like they just, they like 3D printed this thing, just made it exactly how they wanted, and it's
really special.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't seen A Silent Voice, should you read the manga first or the movie?
I would watch the movie first, because it's just so stunningly presented, and it is very different from the manga. So because it's a great adaptation, there is less information, but it makes it work very well with the overall story. So when you watch the movie, awesome, and then once you get into the manga, then it's just basically extra sprinkles.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So going on to the number 3 category, y'all. My number 3, I don't really have to look at my list here for this one, because this one we basically started the channel on this.
Yeah.
It's not the very first thing we started the channel, but this one I think got most people to come and check us out as a channel, and it took my, I would say, pessimistic view on where anime was limited, because in my view all anime was shonen, meaning that in order for an anime to be good, it had to be a good shonen, and I had watched the only good shonen left, which was Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. So MHA, My Hero Academia, here's the thing about My Hero Academia. It did all the tropes of the shonen stuff and nigh perfected them so quickly in those first 2 to 3 episodes.
Yep.
One of the things that Jacob and myself, we talk about so often is how important the ending of a story is.
Oh, sure.
You know, how important you need to close off your story and actually have an ending, which, by the way, y'all, I don't think we as an anime community should kind of accept the idea that, you know, most anime don't end because they're all advertisements for
Let me
the
tell
manga.
you, Battle Lines has an ending.
Okay, yes, Battle Lines has an ending. But My Hero Academia did something special for me because the whole underdog hero's journey shonen kind of setup here was done. It didn't stray too far from the campiness of what makes a shonen great, but it hit so hard on all the things it needed to so quickly in the very beginning, and then continued to build upon the themes of those, you know, what does it take to be a hero? Basically that question. Over and over and over and over and over again with all of its other characters, side characters. And I mean, I fell in love with All Might and Deku so quickly, but while the show does the ensemble cast and doesn't really treat most of them with kind of the same respect that kind of the main 6 or 7 characters get, the overall experience from having a shonen that basically said, Caleb, how pretentious could you be in saying that all shonen are bad because they follow the same kind of typical tropes and stuff? There's this thing called execution. Jacob and I have talked so much. Jacob and I talked so much about how so many stories out there will go for basically trying to give a unique concept. And this is coming with my limited experience and limited consumption of stories and anime and all that. But I will say that there is these 2 things at work, and I know these things exist. There's execution and there's concept. And basically concept is the thing that makes Hunter x Hunter, in my opinion, initially looked at it and go, whoa, how did they manage to get all these concepts, all these things in it so well? Basically, like the Nen system is a concept. But the execution is the way, the how that they present all of the elements that make up the concept of the story.
Right.
And MHA basically said, you know, season 1, we're going to focus on the origin story. We're going to get that right. But we're going to focus so much on every single little detail of that origin story that the presentation of it will be just all 10 out of 10s. Now, I don't rate even MHA like even close to a 10 out of 10 as far as the like the show as a whole overall. Right. But the thing is that influentially, like as for me specifically as a person, I remember crying in those first 2 episodes being like, how is a story that's so simple, so like fine-tuned in a very specific area just hitting me so hard? And I realized it was because heroes and the whole concept of, you know, saving someone and being an inspiration for someone and smiling and putting on all this I would say, effort in order to be an example to others was a huge part of just who I am as a person. So I valued that in an internal way, and it resonated really strongly with me. But it also, I would say, broke down a lot of my barriers to anime as a whole, because I really meme about it a lot, but I was very much felt betrayed by Bleach as an anime. I really did. I bought into it so hard in those first like, even in through the Vizard arc. Like I was into it.
Yep.
And it just took a fat, stinky, nasty dump all over itself. And I just was strung along thinking like it could get better. They'll stick at least an ending at some point.
Right.
And it was my first anime, by the way. And basically from then on, I mean, I'd watched a bunch of other like decent anime that were like, you know, really good shonen, like Soul Eater and Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Yeah.
And they had parts about them that I didn't like and parts that I really did like. But I realized that I wasn't willing to go after any kind of story that smelled of that construct.
Yep.
And MHA just broke through all of that in 2 episodes. 2 episodes. I wish we could find a way to re-upload our MHA's first 2 episodes reactions, because there's discussion in there that I remember going back and checking out back in those horribly recorded videos. But there was something innocent in that moment of where Caleb basically saw something simple but perfect, if that makes sense. I don't really know if MHA is actually going to be like even close to that good in 100 episodes. Like MHA could be my next Bleach.
Yeah, what a Bleach it would be, because the thing is that it really made us believe.
Yeah. And the thing is, I don't really care. At this point, I don't care.
The journey would be worth it anyways. Yeah.
But also, the act of being betrayed can't really happen anymore, because I already had the experience from that stuff there. So, yeah. We'll just have to wait and see. But I can't deny it was hard putting this on the list so high, I would say, because it more or less just kind of opened me up again. But I think about the influence and the width and the breadth of it took specifically to the 2 that are above this. Yeah, I had to mention it.
I'm really curious what the next 2 are then.
Okay, well, all right. So that's my third. What's your third?
Well, my third might end up, I get the feeling it's going to be one of the 2 above that one.
Okay.
Monster.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, see, the thing is that for Monster, it's for very specific reasons. Because when I think about some of the things that Monster does, the crazy like mystery and intrigue and the complex plots and things, and you know what Johan's doing and everything and all of that, that's not what I like most about Monster. What I like most about Monster is the episodic episodes.
Yeah.
And the thing is,
I agree.
Here's the thing. The best example before Monster that I had of episodic episodes is Airbender.
Yeah.
Right? And I would still say that Airbender does the episodic thing very well. But if I were to actually say a way in which Airbender is a little bit dated, it's in the episodic structure. It still pulls it off amazingly, right? And that show is just so special to me, right? But when I think about, because all these shows are, or all these stories, movies and shows are things that changed me as a result of watching them, right?
Right. Totally.
And with Monster, like, I mean, there were so many, but in particular, like, I remember the soldier and the girl.
Yeah.
Right? And it was something where, like, the actual like relevancy that it had in the overarching story was very little. Now, it played onto the, like, Tenma was there, and it played onto the whole themes of, like, the morality of killing people and all that
Yep.
stuff excellently.
He later taught him how to use a gun.
Right, exactly. There was all that stuff. So
But
had
yeah.
its place.
Right, but it was just basically a single compartmentalized story.
But the thing is, I would watch a movie about that,
Yeah.
just that episode,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I feel
You know, that was one of those things where it's like, I want to write a story about something like that,
Yeah.
where it's this short, just complete little package of wonderful storytelling. Because the thing is
Mhm.
that if a story makes me cry,
Yeah.
then it has a very special place in my heart.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I actually look for in stories. I love it when stories make me cry. Now, not with all stories. A lot of the times I want it to be, hype or for it to make me laugh or something, right?
Yeah.
Konosuba, for instance. Like, I
For
love
sure.
Konosuba.
For sure.
But one of the things that I especially love about anime is the ability that it has to basically do everything,
Yeah.
right? It can do the comedy. It can do the hype ridiculousness, and it can do the crying. Sometimes in the span of a
definitely.
few minutes, it can switch between the two, right?
Yeah.
And that is just it absolutely blows me away, because this was basically something where it reawakened my passion for something that I thought was just a relic of the past,
Uh-huh.
right? And that's just what you do, because that's how it was back in the day with, tuning in for the weekly special, and you can't guarantee that people will be watching every episode, so you just make them segmented so that way if they miss a few, it's no big deal, right?
I mean, yeah.
Like
yeah.
like my equivalent of Bleach
Mhm.
was the cop drama,
Gotcha.
right? The thing where it's like, okay, we're gonna have a new story. What's gonna happen this episode?
God,
I have no idea.
I hate
And-
stereotypical cop dramas.
And in some ways, that there would be quality that would come of that, because it would then have to rely entirely on the banter, right?
Yep.
But as far as the actual stories that were being told,
Yep.
I like lost hope entirely that there could be any way of having an intrinsically just story that would get me just on the sake of the story, not on the stuff coming into it, or the sprinkled throughout character development for the characters that are continuing on into the next story. Like that's what I usually saw it as being for, with things
sure.
like Airbender or the interactions between Rock and Reverie and Black Lagoon or something like that, right?
Right.
But with Monster, they were so separate and so sweet and so good and so heartfelt. Like,
Mhm.
in a lot of ways, when it would get into the crazy epic moments of Monster, there was this part of me that just wanted it to go back to be like, no, Tenma, forget about Johan.
Mhm.
Just go on a trip through the countryside.
Yep.
And just talk to people, just help
Yep.
people, right?
Yep. Be yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't go at this with some grand mission. You're too
Right. That, like, because
You got too much life to live to.
right,
focus on all
you're
that.
you're a good person. You can do real good in the world, and that's the kind
Yeah.
of thing that I feel like it helped, not to teach me, but to kind of remind me of.
Mhm.
In that, with all the stories of the crazy stories and whatnot, those are the things that can hit the closest to home.
Yep.
It's the stories of just people living life and other people, and the potential goodness in those people to lift people up.
Mhm.
Yeah, that, and yeah, because the thing is, like, Monster is not my third favorite anime of all time or anything like that. I
Right.
love it, but
Right.
it's it's not up there. I'd have to figure something out for that. But
Yeah. It's one of those. It's
it'd
one of those
be
anime.
impossible, basically.
It's one of those anime that we can respect as a masterpiece, but it's like it's more of a case study in writing rather than a perfectly entertaining
Right.
bit of
Mhm.
like a perfectly entertaining I don't know, pizza basically.
Right, and
Like,
and I could,
Monster is not a pizza.
Mhm.
It's a finely exquisite 7-course, very avant-garde array of dishes.
sure, or but the way I really end up thinking
Uh-huh.
of it as with Monster
Yeah.
is not the avant-garde with 7 dishes.
Okay.
It's that mug of hot cider on a winter day.
Ooh.
You wrap up in a nice blanket,
Ooh.
right? And you're
You just
sitting
kind
in
of
front of a fire,
just like,
and
mm.
families all gathered around, and you're just enjoying each other's company. That's the kind of stuff
Oh.
that Monster
That's
makes me
warm
think
and
of.
snuggly. I like
Like
it.
that snuggly stuff, yeah.
Mm.
Because I mean, the characters that they brought in, like I didn't know who these people were. Like the idea of needing to introduce characters in one episode, in a 20-minute episode, not a 40-minute episode like those cop dramas. A 20-minute episode, introduce the characters, make them relevant, bring up the conflict, establish it, and then resolve it in a satisfying way, while having the audience get emotionally attached to the characters every time.
Right.
It's insanity.
Yeah.
And it did it.
It did.
So.
It did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Monster.
Wow. So Monster's not in my top list.
Okay.
The thing is,
I think you like Monster a bit more than I do.
I do like Monster a bit more than you do, but the thing is, I actually don't think it's as influential. The thing is, I feel like Monster hasn't hit me yet influentially because I have not looked at it that way. Because I feel like I'm an inferior looking up at my God asking for mercy whenever I discuss Monster.
Much like Johan.
I'm like, no, much like Doctor Strange to the Ancient One. Teach me, like I want it to influence me, but I'm too dense. I'm such a lower being when it comes to Monster. So if anything, that just shows you're a better writer than me. So you felt the influence.
Well,
more
and also
than
the difference in style, because when you probably think of Teach Me, you're probably thinking all the crazy, complicated stuff with Johan and everything. And I'm just like, I just love that story of the soldier and the girl. You know.
Yeah. Hey,
jumping into the rain
that's
puddles.
Great.
You know.
That's great. Caleb says he's a lesser being, and Jacob just nods at him. I can't.
Wow.
Oh man, the brawn and the brains. Surprisingly, despite how like thick daddy boy this guy is, that's where the distribution is at least. All right, so mine is one that's influential for me in a reason that has to do entirely with my opinions of anime now comparatively to where they were 2 years ago.
Okay.
And that is freaking JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Number two on my list is JoJo's freaking Bizarre Adventure. And I'll tell you, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure changed everything for me. This is yes, nani? Like this is what's so crazy about JoJo's is that those first 3 episodes I think are pure genius. Those first 3 episodes are pure genius. But actually, it's the transition from episode 9 to episode 10 that's the most genius. When you first have that experience of, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen JoJo's, I'm not talking spoilers in here.
And you meet Joseph.
That transition from episode 9 to episode 10 throws everything that you expect anime to follow the rules of out the window. There are no rules. We are in JoJo territory. And episode 10 tells you exactly what JoJo's thinks about the rules. I mean, the guy takes a grenade and he throws it.
Well, no. So
no, even better.
The Tommy gun.
There's the Tommy gun.
And then there's
the Coke bottle.
There's the Coke
with the
bottle.
bottle cap.
Yeah.
Where
and then there's I will put 20 grenades onto your cape without you noticing.
And make you specifically notice one grenade. But the thing is that from part 1 to part 2 to part 3, and we're in part 4 right now, JoJo's has never ceased to surprise me and to, I would say, open my mind. If I could make a Galaxy Brain meme joke here, it's like my brain before I watch JoJo's, my brain during watching JoJo's, and my brain like, you know, thinking back on the, you know, the power of JoJo's.
So it's basically just be like a brain getting more and more stylized with like hard lines and stuff and
like menacing, you know, kanji surrounding it and stuff. It's absolutely ridiculous to think back to part 2 and part 2's finale. Like I was asking, someone asked me on the Discord, they said, what was your favorite reaction you guys ever did in your channel? And they said, just answer really quickly. I was like, JoJo's part 2 finale. And they were like, oh my God, yes. And I was like, yes, but like, think back to that. That episode. That episode alone. That's just like, that's an average JoJo episode now. Like, now you get to watch this creator explore his own creative license he can take with the characters and the world and the abilities and everything, and even just the art, just things get so wacky. JoJo's, if I could sum it up in a few words, get ready to clip this, y'all. JoJo's basically takes all the rules of what you think anime has to be and just says, just kind of throws it off to the side. Like, let me actually see what I wrote down here, because I think I didn't say it right. JoJo removed any limits on me for what anime had to be. JoJo's completely broke those.
So that's why you agreed to watch Domestic Girlfriend.
Well, I think that's why I don't think I really care as much right now about whether or not I'm going to get the most out of a show, if that makes sense.
Right, because right,
I know I'll get something.
Right, exactly. You know that JoJo's has kind of made you flexible enough to adapt to the show that you're watching, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the other thing. JoJo's is the craziest concept in terms of a story, because it's more like 5 stories, so far, or like 4 stories, or like 12 stories or something like that. There's no concept in anime that I think will ever come close to being JoJo's, basically, to being as ridiculous as JoJo's. And in some ways, I actually think to give it a lot of praise. Now, if you don't like this live action show, don't just kind of at me here. But like, I actually think JoJo's is the Doctor Who of anime.
Definitely.
Now, what I mean by that is that this show will go on forever. JoJo's will never die. Araki is never gonna die. Yeah. So JoJo's is never gonna die.
As long as he doesn't go out in the sunlight.
And while Doctor Who may take, dumps on itself in, times of story, writing or whatever, JoJo's is basically that constantly reincarnating, evolving, just bizarre monster that will never stop, Not even the entire world can stop JoJo's.
Yep.
And then, of course, the memes, the absolute ridiculousness of it. So there are a couple of rees in chat. Oh my gosh. Dr. Whomst? Oh my gosh.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It's really special. Yeah, I'm not talking about Doctor Who and JoJo's in terms of quality. I'm talking about it in terms of influence.
Right. It's funny because Araki didn't try to go for meme power or anything. Yeah.
I 100% believe it. And yet here we are.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's something special, and I think I've never been more open to watching just anime in general of any type after kind of, I would say, the first 12 episodes of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Like, it just changed me forever on that.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to more shows with their wacky, crazy, only works in anime concepts. Like, JoJo's is one of those things, by the way. Mm-hmm. It cemented my belief that anime is the superior medium of television as well when it comes to, live action versus anime.
Technology is the best.
Sekaiichi!
Yeah. Yep.
Oh man. Okay, so that's my number 2. Okay. Let's do a little bit of a recap after you do your number 2.
Right. Recap or honorable mentions?
We'll do honorable mentions too, but also letting people know what we've done thus far.
So, my number 2 is potentially, I get the feeling at this point, the only overlap that there will be.
Oh, okay, cool.
And that's MHA.
Nice, awesome.
So again, I've said before, and I'll say it again, the story can make me cry.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
If it can make me cry early on, even better.
Yeah.
Because as important as endings are, the beginning is the foundation on which the entire rest of the story is built. A Silent Voice, one of the reasons that I loved it so much was because it was at a point in time where I was disillusioned with main characters and stories in general, but especially in anime, right?
Yeah.
And because I had gone through so many stories, nothing really affected me anymore. You know,
For sure.
my emotions wouldn't get tugged at as easily. You know, I didn't as easily sympathize because it was just, oh, this is another character, right? Because I very much did look at stories as a way to improve my own storytelling. Then MHA comes along, and I mean, those first 3 episodes, like, I'm convinced that they could, if they were to basically take, like, the first 3 episodes of MHA and then do, like, 3 other original episodes and basically just make a movie out of it, that would be one of the greatest animated movies ever.
Makes sense.
Because there was the whole fact of, yes, you know, superheroes and all the Marvel movies and stuff, so it was very timely.
Yeah.
But it just made me care so much, and it was on something so simple. Like, that. When stories can keep me up at night and just make the wheels in my head keep turning and turning and spinning as I'm trying to basically figure out how did they do it.
Sure.
It puts it into the stratosphere of stories for me, regardless of whatever else there is about it that are problems. Like, I love the Haruhi franchise, as many serious problems as it has, because it did that for me, right? MHA was that for me too. And if it does end up going the way of Bleach, right?
Right.
It's still, I would not mind. I mean, I would mind, but you know, better to love and lost than to have never loved at all. And the way they made me so attached to these characters, and they basically just went back to the whole thing of hero's journey, you know, and it's something that's done so often without any thought, really, right? That now, you know, when you do it and you know why you're doing it, it's this amazing, mind-blowing thing.
Yeah.
And I've always loved the idea of the old things being able to be told in a new way that blows people away. And like, yeah, I think that was the fastest that I ever cried in a story, whether it's a movie or a show or whatever. I don't think I'd ever.
Oh, A Silent Voice was faster.
I don't know, because A Silent Voice, the first 20 minutes definitely, but like the point where I actually cried in A Silent Voice versus the point where I cried in MHA, I don't know, because like I'm pretty sure by the time
when he's talking to his mom, when he's talking to his computer, mom,
and at the computer,
that was about 12 minutes into the episode, I think.
And that broke me, like that.
Me too.
And it also went onto something else that I learned, that children are a great way to engage the sympathies of the audience.
Yes.
Like the whole thing
Absolutely.
of, like, you know, Disney movies with, like, you know, the Disney princesses, or, you know, or just in general, like having like the, you know, the big eyes and everything. Yeah, it's a very real thing, and
it totally is.
MHA did that so well, and they made Deku's struggle, it really feel like a real struggle, because the thing is, it wasn't just that, oh, I want to be a hero, right? You could have a struggle like that and it's like, okay, fine, whatever. But it was the idea of having something that captures your heart so much that that's all that matters, that you want more than anything to do that, to be that, you know, because we all have heroes in our lives, is the thing. Even if we're not in a world of superheroes, we all have the people that are like superheroes to us, right?
Totally.
And the idea that someone telling you, well, one, having a bunch of people tell you, even the people closest to you, no, sorry, you can't.
Yeah.
Right? And still wanting to believe, as painful as it is, that maybe, just maybe, you know, I could be like that too. And then to have that one person that comes in, that comes by and believes in you.
It's something I'd say that transcends the anime itself and speaks directly to anyone that has a passion for something, and people just say, no, you shouldn't have that.
Yep.
That's unrealistic. You shouldn't. It's something I think that we couldn't have known actually how impactful that would be to us, you know, at that point in the channel, and now at this point in the channel, because I think in a lot of ways we had people, we kept it very quiet what we were doing with the channel and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
we told
definitely.
no one.
Oh yeah.
And there were people still that knew, like a couple, and they just kind of did the, oh, that's, yeah, all right, that's cool.
Yeah.
Basically, they would never be the type of person to be like, no, don't do that. Like,
right. It's just like, oh, you know, okay, cool. You know, you're doing a thing.
Right. But there was also this kind of like, oh, you know, kind of a, I hope that works out because I don't want to be the person to tell you I told you so or something like that. And even that just it hits you
because and I think
you were doing your book at the time.
And this is and the thing is this hit me at the point when like
you were like 8 months into your book or something.
Well, I can't remember how much months. Exactly, but the thing is that I had an amount that I had saved up while writing the first draft, you know, and it was basically a thing of okay, I'm going to have to sell this book door to door. Like I'm going to have to basically just save up money, and books. Writing a book and self-publishing and everything, it's expensive. Like there's a lot of things that you need to do and everything to make it polished, and editing and art and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it was something that I was very much worried about, right? And then, you know, because it's the whole thing of, oh yeah, that'll never work. And I know so many people that would try to write books and wouldn't, you know, and then it would become this terrible thing to them that haunts them. Or people that would write books and it would never take off, right? It would be the thing that they would sell at like their, you know, their local homeschool co-op or something like that, you know, or whatever, right?
So
very specific. I know, yeah.
No, but basically, like, we'd seen people who had sell 100 copies of their book, and it was all within the first week. And, like, you know, 20 copies were from, like, friends and stuff, and then, like, 50 copies were from, like, you know, kind of extended whatever.
Right, and it was just, and because surprise, but in this day and age, while more people are reading, like, you know, it's becoming more of a thing because it's so easy for information to just, you know, go around everywhere. Books are not exactly on the rise as much as, like, say, you know, visual entertainment. But books, it's like, this is something where I can do it all on my own. Like, I can do it, right? And then MHA comes along and basically, like, spoke to me right in that place, and it was
Oh, yeah, MHA. Okay, y'all, so let's recap what we've done thus far, and then we'll go into the honorable mentions and first place. So, I have, for my fifth one, Konosuba, because it... Yeah, I don't have to say anymore. If you haven't seen it, watch Konosuba. Fourth, I have Hunter x Hunter.
Yep.
Third, I have My Hero Academia. Second, I have JoJo's.
And then for me, in fifth place... I have Your Name, the movie, absolutely amazing. Fourth, A Silent Voice, big surprise there. Third, Monster, that episodic gold. Second, MHA.
All right, y'all. So let's go into some honorable mentions, specifically for... do you want to go first, actually?
Sure. I didn't actually write mine down, but...
Okay, let's alternate back and forth. We'll each do one at a time.
Okay, sure. Yeah, okay, so I'll go first. Made in Abyss.
Made in Abyss, yeah.
The Studio Ghibli terror, basically. That's the Studio Ghibli horror, basically, is what I think of that one, and it shook me to my core, and, you know, it showed me just what a fun adventure and world and stuff can do for making an interesting story.
Yeah. So my first honorable mention is Berserk. Berserk as an anime, I feel like changed not only a lot of what fantasy needed to be like, but it also showcased a lot of where you could have a story end in such a way that was so horrifying, and it opened the world up to something so much more. So it got me excited, I would say, specifically about stories that would delve, I would say, deeply into the psychology of humanity in a fantasy setting, keeping it far more grounded than most realistic kind of shows out there.
Yeah.
All right, what's another one for you?
A Place Further Than the Universe. So the only reason that this one didn't make it to this list was because it didn't change me necessarily. It was something, because, like, a lot of the, like, if I had watched it earlier, then probably
keep going.
It's
fine.
But it showed me just how touching a story about normal people doing extraordinary things that are still normal. You know, like, if that makes sense. Just how powerful that could be, and, you know, yeah. It also made me realize that the cute girls doing cute things can actually be awesome.
Yeah. So because you did that one, I have to do Soriori, Place for the Universe as well, because that's another one of my honorable mentions, literally like right there on the list right there.
Mhm.
And the reason why it influenced me a lot was because this was a reaction that we did after we had already done a lot of anime, but because I had already had a lot of other things kind of just freed within me in terms of expression and emotion and passion and all this good stuff, there was so much in Soriori to take in, just of these 4 girls being excited about doing something different with their life because they could. There didn't have to be some grand overarching main character story for each of them. Only one of them needed to have that. And God, the freaking, what was it, the 3rd or the 4th episode where I could just die?
Oh, that was the 3rd episode. Yeah.
That part made me cry so dang hard. And I don't know if you've seen this show or not, but the second to last episode also absolutely broke my heart. Like I was a sopping mess of tears and emotion. The absolute joy I had to see the arc of these 4 girls kind of come to a conclusion here. It was amazing. It was so good. It just it meant so much to me. And yet also the show did a couple things that was I think really clever. It was actually really streamlined in the dialogue, the pacing, and also the overall comedy and animation. Just
another great
was
example
really
of a story that was engineered. Like, because again, anime original, but like, man, that thing was built from the ground up.
All right, so next honorable mention for you.
Go through another one because I'm blanking right now.
Okay, my final honorable mention is Ping Pong the animation.
Oh yeah.
So Ping Pong the animation did something unique to me. Ping Pong the animation is a show that I came into it going, I'm going to find something good in this. The art style looks horrendous, but I'm going to find something good about this. I did not have to look hard. I did not have to look hard at all. This show had so much depth, so much character-driven storytelling in it that it moved me. It moved me how well they weaved multiple characters and an ensemble cast, I would say, along very specific thematic like lines, and then ended with just such perfection. And yet, I would say, like you said, episode 6 in the middle, that was where the majority of the gold was actually found in the story. You had this big change going on with
so many
with
characters.
Peko specifically,
Peko, really.
that came out of nowhere, at least in my angle. My prediction abilities were so off just from trying to understand the level to which they would care about every single character in the story. So I can't not shout it out as an honorable mention.
Here's what I'll do. I'm having some trouble thinking of specific shows for honorable mentions, so I'll give episodes for honorable mentions.
Gotcha.
So the Christmas episode from Ping Pong.
Okay.
Watch the show just for that episode, if nothing else.
Yeah.
The next one, Violet Evergarden episode 10.
Yeah.
So Wolf Children Before a Silent Voice was my absolute favorite movie of all time. This movie, or this episode,
right,
so gorgeous it could be a movie, made me cry wolf children level tears. Like it hit me on that on a similar level, and I want you to know just how big of a statement that is when I say that. Yeah. Because Wolf Children was one of those ones that changed the course of my life. So yeah, that episode absolutely just knife, gut, twist. It was so good. It was another example of the whole episodic thing that Monster showed me, of how you can have episodic stories that are absolute gold. And the thing is, the Violet barely played a part in that episode. Like when you really think about it. And yet it was absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, it was. Now, I have to ask you something really quick before we go into our number ones.
No, I know yours is.
Oh, okay, because of
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Come on, Caleb.
I thought that we were going to end up in a thing where that was going to be yours as well.
Yeah, no, it's like
oh
the
my
most
gosh.
obvious thing ever. Oh yeah, no, that's the other honorable mention was Haikyuu.
Okay, gotcha.
Because of because the way it does the characters and everything, it's absolutely fantastic. It didn't have that same like shifting impact for me because I guess that was something that I had already been like hungry for and looking for when I went into that show. But yeah, I mean, Haikyuu is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so Mr. Nullity and Megu255, thank you so much for the follows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, spoiler alert, my number one is Haikyuu. Y'all knew this anyway. Y'all felt this. Like, for those of you that watched our reactions to Haikyuu, you knew this had to be either on the list or near the very top, if not the top.
Yeah.
The thing about Haikyuu is it is all characters. It is all characters. And the thing is that I would say that Haikyuu is not the most well-written show. Like, sure. It is not the most, like, critically, like, whatever. But in terms of influence for me, I would say it would be a crime to say that the reason why I identified and resonated with it so much was just because it was a sports show. No.
Although it was your first sports show, and that also, like, that probably is a very big deal.
Okay, but the thing is that my life has been always about finding ways to express myself in a way that people would understand. Now, here's the thing. When you express yourself excitedly and people don't understand it, it's alienating. It's disconnecting. You just kind of go, wait, someone out there should get this, right? Someone out there should understand this. Like, why am I not, like, why is this not working out here? And the thing about Haikyuu and what it embodies and what's so brilliant about it and why it's like, for me it's a 10 out of 10. Yes, I understand what you say, Remy's, absolutely. Is that Haikyuu specifically speaks to passion and pure raw expression of said passion, and not disconnected individual believe it passion, or just like I'm going to be the greatest or I'm going to achieve my dreams kind of passion. In some ways, the main character isn't really like that big of a carrier of the passion. They are, but it's not any one character.
Right, it's the passion of everybody.
It's the passion of the family, of the bros, of the teams, of Karasuno, of Aoba Josai, of Nekoma, of Dateko, of all these teams, and how, while they'll focus on specific characters for sure, every character is on a journey to not only discovering their passion, but in learning how to express their passion. Emphasized perfectly with freaking Tsukishima throughout these, like, especially the second season, but in the third season, I loved that we had this first year character that had been built up to be this boy who's basically kind of a he was a bit of a pain actually in season 1 for the most part.
You're going to use a bit more colorful term before that.
But the gist of what made Tsukishima so great was they contrasted him perfectly with Hinata immediately. If you haven't seen Haikyuu, y'all, I don't know if I can hold myself back from being non-spoilery. There's so much in Haikyuu that I would just love to talk about. But here's something that I would say is important for me beyond anything even related to the channel or the reactions or anything, is that if you aren't able to express your passion, you're going to die inside.
Yeah.
Like, think about this in the positive sense, though. If you're able to express your passion,
then you're truly living. Yeah.
There are so many people out there that don't know that it's okay to express your passion. I mean, don't hurt anybody, but essentially cheering on, being a fan, I would say, is more the accurate thing. And I think that when I was younger, there are so many people that would kind of look down on the fanboy, fangirl,
Sure.
fan person, whatever, the fan exuberance, basically the obsessiveness of someone that puts so much value into something that you don't understand it. So you go, ugh, all these fan crazy people or whatever. But I was like the person quietly going, I'm one of those people. So I'm not going to let other people know that and then be judged and be ridiculed and such by that.
Yeah.
But Haikyuu tore that wide open. I cried more in Haikyuu than I think any show we've reacted to thus far. I think so.
Probably.
It's long enough that it gives it that essence there. I haven't, had so much joy in really an anime that other than Haikyuu. There was so much in there for the story writer in me, but it was becoming a fan again, like becoming a true, unadulterated, obsessive, ridiculous, over the top, excited, hyped fanboy again. So Haikyuu. Yeah.
More crying than Your Lie in April. Wow. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Your Lie in April, I probably cried like 6 times. Probably.
Yeah, probably.
And Haikyuu, right. I probably cried about 10 times.
Yeah, probably. So there are a bunch of guesses for mine, whether it's Toradora, Kill la Kill, Attack on Titan. Thing is that
did you cheat again?
No.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
The thing is that there was a very particular method to the madness for this.
Ah, okay.
At least for me. And it seems like you did the same thing.
Can I try and guess? Because I think you told me already. No. You have the spotlight.
Yeah.
You have the spotlight.
So
I know what it is, though.
It's things that have been influential for me as a result of this channel, right? That I wouldn't have gotten into otherwise. And as awesome as Attack on Titan and no, I know, Attack on Titan and Toradora and things like that are, and Ruby, those were things that I got into that had a big impact on me, and I enjoyed them a ton before the channel, right? And that's part of what brought this channel about. But yeah, it's Kill la Kill.
It's Kill la Kill, yeah.
Battle Lines #1. Psych. No, it's Kill la Kill. Yeah. Good job, Lyria. You called it way early. Yeah. Here's the thing about Kill la Kill. No, it's not Domestic Girlfriend. Kill la Kill was such an experience. One of the things that made me get into stories early on was this feeling of just pure exhilaration where the story would consume me, right? It would just take over my whole life, right? Whether it was Bleach when we first watched Bleach, or or Attack on Titan when I got into Attack on Titan, or Toradora, rewatching it time and time again, or Haruhi, Black Lagoon. But as time goes on, and I'm sure you guys have experienced this, as time goes on, those happen less and less. Because you've already seen stuff. You've already been, had those crazy influences and stuff, right? And when I think about Kill la Kill, like, the very fact that we ended up watching it is not something that I ever would have expected. Like people were asking us to watch Kill la Kill way
back
before
when
we actually reacted to it, right?
Yeah.
And we didn't react to it because we're like, okay, come on. We've seen, art pieces of Kill la Kill. We've heard stories about Kill la Kill, right? Right?
Yeah.
And maybe it was just because of all the heavy analysis type stuff that we were watching or whatever. But I just ended up getting in the mood where I just wanted to watch something kind of stupid and awesome, but kind of stupid. That part where it's like, no, you don't necessarily have to analyze it. Just enjoy it, right? Have fun with it. And it surpassed my expectations so much. Because the thing is, I would have absolutely enjoyed Kill la Kill if it was just ridiculous antics and the fan service and the and the characters, and the banter and all that stuff and the action and
Right.
but it was so much more.
Mm-hmm.
The way it was able to have something that was so ridiculous with just the entire whole thing of the uniforms and the everything and how just about everything was some kind of sexual metaphor, right? I never would have gotten into that. I never would have expected to like that. I turned my nose up at that kind of stuff before the channel. And even, early on in the channel, right?
Uh-huh.
But there was just something about it. It stuck to it with such gusto. It just charged forward. Its drill pierced the heavens. It didn't scissored its way through. Yeah, it didn't lose its way. Like even freaking like Blumenkranz, right? Like I love that song so much. And yet I hate Ragyo. I hate her guts. Just, burn her. But there was just something about it that was so wonderful. Mm-hmm. It made me feel like a kid again. Like maybe a slightly dirtier, more 13-year-old kid, but but it really did. And when I think about that, that is why I love stories. There's the whole aspect of the stories that make me cry and everything, but it's just in general the stories that can make me feel strongly.
Gotcha.
Right? And when I think about my own stories, what I want to do is I want to help other people have the same experience with stories that I had when I was a kid, right? Mm-hmm. And have had, growing up, and all the stories that I've had the pleasure of enjoying. And it hit that balance so well. Like I feel like Kill la Kill just understands what you can do with anime as a medium, because it's absolutely ridiculous. The visuals that it uses from the funny cuts in like budget, for the animation. Right. To just everything that they do. It was wonderful. Yeah. And like I'm going back and rewatching it now in the dub, which is absolutely fantastic. The fact that the dub VA for Minori from Toradora is Mako from Kill la Kill. It's like, yes, please and thank you. And the fact that the dub voice actor for what, Dio and
Endeavor
anyways, is Gamagori. That's just absolutely fantastic. Oh
my gosh, yes.
Yeah,
yes, Mako. Yeah. Hallelujah.
I've said,
Ryuka-chan, get naked.
Yeah. I've seen your boobs. They're way better than hers. I know. I saw them. My whole family were talking about, boy, that Ryoko, she's got a great rack. Yeah. Like Uvogin. Yes, thank you. I was so embarrassed that I was forgetting his name.
Yeah.
But like I've said that I like Kill la Kill more than Gurren Lagann, and I think I hold to that. I think that it stands the test of time. And while I may never do something quite as bombastic in certain senses as Kill la Kill, the way it knows what kind of story that it wants to be, and it owns it, and it basically it does. Like I made a Shakespeare comparison before of how there's the stuff that's for the masses, right? The action and the fan service and everything, and then there's all the stuff underneath, that's the layers and stuff, so that you can go into that if you want to. You can think about that and theorize about that and all that stuff, or you could just have a good time. Like it could be the thing to make you stay up at night and be thinking about stuff, or it could just be, I had a rough day. I want to watch something fun, and. Yeah, and then it still has those emotional moments throughout. So
right, yeah, awesome. Well, that's our top 5 for each of us. I mean, wow, quite crazy list right there.
And Kill la Kill definitely got me to watch Domestic Girlfriend. Like I would not have watched Domestic Girlfriend if Kill la Kill hadn't first opened my eyes to the light. Clack.
There you go. And remember that while Jacob did do some movies in here that were specifically from the previous bit, we are not doing shows. We're not including shows that we watched prior to the channel.
Right.
So Avatar: The Last Airbender, Gurren Lagann, someone's
Right,
putting
exactly.
in there.
It's like
those
that's-
aren't in the competition here.
And even then though, I would say Kill la Kill was more influential for me than Gurren Lagann.
Wow,
As weird as it sounds to say that, but yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you all know Avatar: The Last Airbender was the most influential show.
Right. Hands
for
down.
me.
Right.
For me, at least.
For me too, yeah. Jacob is an ascended being.
Do you boys know of the existence of the song Light Your Heart Up? It played during the Fight Club Happy New Apartment montage. The lyrics could be read as one of the girls singing to the other. If it played in place of the regular ED, then the episode would have been an 11 out of 10 for me.
Light Your Heart Up. Okay, I am not familiar with that, but since I'm rewatching it in the dub, I will definitely keep my eyes peeled for that. I'm watching like one episode
peeled.
a day recently, and yeah, it's just so much fun. But
That's
yeah, ears
awesome.
peeled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll find a familiar experience with the Monogatari series. Yeah, I think Monogatari will take a while to get to that level because it's
so big. Like there's a bunch of stuff that we'll be able to go through. Yeah.
But
yeah.
Not saying Tengen Toppa and Gurren Lagann should be in the running or that it's a better show, but because it's a similar show in some respects, its influence should be greater than Kill la Kill. So I'm confused a bit on that.
Well,
point.
influence. If you're talking about influence in like the anime community, I could maybe give that to you. But influence for me personally, that's just that's a thing of me personally.
Yeah, there's no objective influence in the general populace thing being supposed here. We're talking specifically in how these anime and
affected
reacting
us
to them
as people
affected us and influenced us as people.
Eromanga Sensei most influential for Jacob.
Oh my god. Is Game of Thrones anime? No.
Although it is going into dragons and and all that stuff and magic and things.
RWBY wasn't on this list, I would say, because RWBY was something we started watching well prior to the channel.
Right. Most of the impact from RWBY happened before the channel, and then the channel was started as a result of that.
Yes, and while that is important to bring up, I would say it didn't change that much from what you guys, I would say, saw of us.
Right. And
that was just where we started off at, if that makes sense.
And the if I could have you guys have a takeaway from this is that this podcast, in my mind at least, is basically a way to say thank you to all of you, because these are series that in most cases we certainly in the case of Kill la Kill at least, I definitely would not have watched that if not for the channel. Like, I wouldn't have, because that progressive of watching, one show after the other and sort of exploring tastes and things like that. We've been able to go on such an amazing journey with you guys.
Yeah, it's been really
because
special.
of all these wonderful stories, and thank you. So,
yeah. Someone was asking, just got here, did Haikyuu influence you? Where was that? Did I miss it? I missed it. Maybe it was further up here.
Oh. But in short, any question about Haikyuu having influence, the answer is yes.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's recap really quick. So mine was Konosuba for 5th, Hunter x Hunter, MHA, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and Haikyuu for my main 5. And then I had honorable mentions for Berserk, A Place for the Universe, and Ping Pong the Animation.
Right. And then mine were Your Name, A Silent Voice, Monster, MHA, Kill la Kill, with honorable mentions for Made in Abyss,
Place for the
Universe, and then Haikyuu and Violet Evergarden episode 10 and Ping Pong episode 6.
Gotcha. Cool. 4 shonens in Caleb's list. Yeah, I mean, haven't you guys seen that meme video? I'm probably a shonen junkie.
Yeah. Whereas me, like, okay, what could people guess from the ones that I listed? Your Name, A Silent Voice, Monster, MHA, Kill la Kill. Yeah, I don't know. That tell me if you can figure out some sort of rhyme or reason to that other than just from the titles of the shows themselves.
Like, all of the shows we watched influenced us in some ways.
Oh yeah.
But it was cool to think about what would be actually at the top of the list if we had to choose a specific set of them.
Right.
So yeah. Bleach hurt me that badly. That is a huge part
of it. We never forget that first love. Yeah.
Yeah, it really did.
Jacob
Well,
is
the
a waifu
topic
warrior,
on the
obviously.
topic of this podcast is that it's what's personally influenced them more, and Kill la Kill influenced Jacob a lot in his watching, basically. Yep,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Domekana.
Jacob is a waifu warrior, obviously.
yeah.
If we had to choose
I
which
mean-
factions we would be in, you would be a waifu warrior
Oh, definitely for factions, yes.
of those original 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they discussed Kill la Kill and Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann a bit in the Kill la Kill post reactions podcast. Everyone, I highly recommend that one if you're unclear on their stances on Kill la Kill and Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. That's
Yes.
great info, Lyriat. Thank you very much for shout out for that. I suppose Ippo and Monogatari are too new to mention. Yep. I would say for the most part,
Yep.
yes. Knowing you wouldn't have seen JoJo without the channel is a dark timeline.
Mhm.
Yeah, basically.
Yep.
Yeah. It's crazy. Didn't Haikyuu change your belief that sports anime is uninteresting? As a
yes.
concept, I think that was more something that Jacob was in the
Uh-huh.
belief of, because I hadn't seen or even
Yeah, because
heard that.
Yeah, I had watched one sports anime before that, and that was Chihaya Furu. And the thing is,
Gotcha.
with Chihaya Furu, the characters were fantastic, but when it actually got into the
sports part.
the sports part, like it would be fine at like it wasn't bad, but it was something where I always wanted it to go back to the character stuff.
Okay,
And Haikyuu just balanced those two so well.
gotcha. All of Jacob's anime have at least one very good fleshed out female character apart from MHA. Oof. Ouch,
Yeah.
MHA. Have any of the
Yeah.
SOS watched Evangelion or Boku Rano, which I consider superior, or any similar show with themes of despair? We both watched Evangelion.
Right, not Bokurano.
Not Boku Rano.
I've heard it mentioned a few times.
Have you ever reacted to a show you ended up not enjoying? Well, I reacted to something in the VIP. And we don't talk about that. If you're a VIP, you know, but what happens in the VIP channel stays in the VIP channel.
Well, I mean, hey, we're going to be reacting to Domestic Girlfriend, so maybe hold out for that. But no, he's going to love it.
No, I'm probably going to
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah. It'll just be weird. It'll be one of those things where he's like, I feel like I shouldn't like this, but I do.
Yeah. Just watched all of Ruby, bro, because of you guys. It was a really fun
Yes.
experience, and all of the main cast found a place in my heart. All of them are so wholesome. My favorite character is probably Weiss.
Mhm,
Yeah.
Queen.
And unlike some of the fandom, I don't really care for the problems with Ruby as a show. It doesn't really matter. I just wanted to say thanks for getting me on the show, and rest in peace, Monte. Oh, thanks, Ramiz. Glad to hear it. You should do another one of these a year later, like a top 5 best shows in the last year kind of thing, without saying shows you said in this video.
Sure.
I hope
That could be
Hoseki will
fun.
make the list once you finish. Oh, okay, yeah. Never quite got all the hate for Bleach, but then I started reading it when it was almost over. 50 chapters left, I believe. That's just because you didn't have to deal with the filler then. Because if you read it, you didn't have to deal with that.
Uh-huh.
And the guy has a really good artistic, talent. Who is the worst anime protagonist you've ever come across? That's a question for another day. Guys, this coming weekend is insane. Game of Thrones battle, continuation of the 3rd season of Attack on Titan, the craziness happening right now in JoJo's and Avengers. Jesus. Oh my gosh, he has so much stuff coming up. I'm watching from Bosnia. It's 1:30 a.m. and I have an exam tomorrow, but I saw
man.
you were streaming and I had to hear your opinions. I just want to say I've enjoyed your JoJo reactions very much. You will love part 5. It is the godfather of action anime, in my opinion. Thank you for your YouTube channel and Twitch streams. Oh,
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it. Amir Jalis.
Amir Jealousy.
Amir Jealousy. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Wow.
Appreciate
and
it. Get
best
back
of
to
luck with the
studying.
exam. Yeah, and sleep.
What happens in VIP stays in VIP. Yep. Oh man. Okay, we're gonna start to call things here.
I watched After the Rain because of you guys.
Oh,
Anime
can I
affected
actually
me a lot.
shout out? Can I
Yeah,
actually shout
that's
out
great.
something in After the Rain specifically?
Specifically, the whole bit
Mhm.
with
Mm-hmm. Yep, you know what
yeah,
I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's an anime that we watched called After the Rain. And it
Mhm.
was Jacob's Tuesday slot,
Yep.
choosing a show kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the thing about this show is that I thought, well, that's a crazy idea for a show. The
Yeah.
premise of it is, I don't want to spoil it or anything else here, but basically there's a character in the show that is in track.
Mhm.
And she is not in track anymore because of an injury. Well, one of her best friends all throughout school has a Fox and the Hound moment with her. And I've
Yeah,
talked
that's
a
the
lot
best way
about
to describe it.
I've talked a lot about how Fox and the Hound is the Disney movie that still makes me like weep cry. Like there are many Disney movies where I still tear up, but there's Disney movies where I'll actually be
Like
turned
messy
into a
tears.
messy of tears and stuff like that. And Fox and the Hound is that one. And there's a point in this story, and After the Rain, where there's a Fox and the Hound type moment between Haruka and Tachibana. And this moment happens very briefly. It is very subtle. It is very short. But the fact that it happens, and the fact that it happens, and the main character is essentially the one kind of not paying attention here, makes you go from I care about this side character to oh my god, I'm dying. This side character, I understand how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Please just oh man, wow. It's just it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. There was some really, really good storytelling in After the Rain, and specifically that part moved me to tears. So absolutely loved it.
It was fantastic.
Yeah. I bet by the time you finish March comes in like a Lion Season 2, it's going to be on that list.
I get the feeling too, because with how much it destroys me every time that opening plays, and
the second opening.
The second opening, I don't think I'm capable of watching that part and not start tearing up. Given how the high praise we've heard for March Comes in Like a Lion Season 2, if this is Season 1, then I can only imagine.
For sure. Munch Kinney, thank you so much for the follow. And Captain Tony Lement, thank you so much for the follow as well. Okay, so we're going to end things here. Thank you so much for tuning in to the podcast. Tomorrow, 3 p.m., we've got the Berserk manga, so get hyped for that. It's getting even crazier, and we're actually kind of in a little bit of a quiet civil moment, even though we have a creepy character.
Makes me concerned. But it's been absolutely fantastic. So we are actually like on either the final episode of Divinity Original Sin 2's co-op stream on Thursdays, this Thursday, or something,
or we're going to try and delay the inevitable and go back a little bit and do some little side quests.
Like I feel like every time like Thursday comes along, I'm like, this is probably going to be the last Divinity stream. Then it's like, oh wait, nope, we get to the end. It's not quite done.
Not exactly there.
Yeah.
And it could be a sincerely like a very anticlimactic ending, considering how busted overpowered the two of us are in that game. We've just been wasting like really difficult fights like it's nothing. And we'll probably have to decide what's happening after Divinity.
Right.
Pretty cool.
That'll be interesting. We're definitely not going to say anything about it on stream because,
Yeah. And then, of course, Witcher 3 on Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. More with me, just dicking around, riding on Roach, and doing side quests and stuff.
Yep. Because I hear you're also trying to delay the end of that game, too.
Well, the thing is that it's an open world game with like,
so it like doesn't really count.
Like travel time being just like, you go everywhere.
Gotcha.
And also, it's very soothing to just kind of ride your horse
and just listen to the music. Yeah.
So good, so good. Okay. Oh, Larry, Justin, Tom.
For the record, it wasn't my intention to claim that Jacob was wrong about the most influential anime for him. I just didn't articulate myself well. Totally get it.
We totally get it. Gotcha, for sure. Yeah. Caleb, please upload Doki Doki playthrough to YouTube. I've got it. I've saved it.
That was actually,
I might have special plans for it.
That was actually one of the ones that I probably should have mentioned as an honorable mention because I was considering it, but I'm like, no, it was a game like, it was so quick. A game. But like the idea of having just getting creative with the premise, like, and having it just take the world by storm because of it. It was,
totally. All right, y'all.
Just Monica.
Well, thank you.
I still have that keychain.
You still have the keychain.
I'm not wearing it right now, but I still have the keychain with the thumb drive anyways.
Yeah.
Don't want to,
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. We'll see you all in the next one. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.
Oh. But really, the most influential story for me is Battle Lines because, guys, like, one, you should, like, I mean,
You
if
held out
haven't
to
gotten
the
it
very
already,
end.
you should definitely get it. But, like,
Jaco's like, I've put this off for
Writing
far
it-
too long.
yeah, but, like,
No, but-
writing it really, really changed me a lot. Like, I actually maybe just started writing some of the next book.
Oh, yes.
And it's been absolutely awesome. And knowing, like, it's a completely different experience than it was for Battle
And
Lines.
I've read
so-
the ending of Battle Lines too.